folks, and welcome to another edition of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined this week by my merry cohorts. We have on the other side of the booth the RP hologram, Artie.
Hi.
And late to the dance party as usual, coming down the ramp about now, is the resident wolf of the Timber Clan.
Yeah, I don't even know where the hell y'all are, but I'll find you. Give me a minute.
Inside, take a left.
Here it is. And...
We
3,
have a
2,
mini
1.
for this reason.
Bam! Hey, how's it going?
Hi there.
And they let him loose on the street without medication, folks. And lurking somewhere in the background is Boss Man.
I'm not here.
He was abducted by aliens.
His cover was blown.
But
I was kidnapped by Chinese.
anyway, before Timber traumatizes the viewers even more.
Oh, hush.
So, we do have a couple of articles this week. Not really a lot going on at the moment. I think the biggest stuff is our Black Friday sales, which hopefully all of you have been able to take advantage of. Those are going to be going on until Tuesday, I believe it is. We're getting 25% off of the entire C-Store, an additional charge bonus to Zen, purchased through the ARC website. The amount of the bonus is going to vary based on the amount of Zen you purchase. So if, hypothetically, you purchase a $50 pack of Zen, normally you get a 300 Zen bonus. Well, now you get an even bigger bonus on top of that with the charge bonus going on. So be sure to get out there and buy some stuff up. So, I'm assuming you guys have taken advantage of the sale just a little bit.
I mean, it's one of the better sales you got going right now, and it's dropped key prices thanks to the keyring bundle. So, I mean, the lowest I've seen keys now is, what, 3.8 mil a piece? Which is actually really, really good. And the tech upgrades are probably what's selling those things, so... It's, you know, about your best time to buy stuff, short of the Lobby sales.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. But yeah, definitely get out there, check this out, folks. This is one of the best times to pick up that ship you've been eyeballing, that maybe it's a bridge officer or some kind of a pack you've been eyeballing. Whatever it is, now's the chance for you to get it on the cheap. But with that said, getting into our articles this evening, we do have our PC patch notes, and there's not really a lot to them for the 20th, but...
Yep. Just going down the list here. Let's see what we got. PC General. Alright, resolved an issue where some players experience having invalid skills. Clicking and respec should now work to clear this, and it will be free. Resolved an issue where loading screens were not appearing correct for 23rd Century and Discovery captains. Ouch. Alright. The Beacon of Kalis. Blind has changed to a disable. That's good. And the duration is increased from 5 to 8 seconds. Half as much against players, and shortened the tooltip text. That's good. And for the Console General, resolved an issue which was blocking the players from equipping or changing active duty officers. Resolved an issue that caused the Swarm Lockbox training manuals to not appear available for use. And finally, resolved an issue that caused the temporal space abilities to not be visible when the ability circles. In the ability circles, my mistake. But yeah, that's a very short list we got there.
Okay. Pretty simple and to the point, I do believe. But, yeah, aside from that, not really much happening on the patch note front. It's been kind of quiet. But all the same, we'll have that in the notes for you guys if you want to check out the little bit of patch notes we did get for console and PC this week. But up next, and I believe I opened this one twice, yes I did, we have the Verdant Cadet Pack going on. And basically for this, for our console captains out there, this is a little something that we're going to be getting from the Age of Discovery content. It's going to get you equipped for the Klingon War. It's going to give you some of the stuff you see there, such as the rifle, the pistol, and then some other little odds and ends. You're going to get your Discovery stun pistol, your Discovery sniper rifle, 12 inventory slots, and a small XP booster. So it's a very basic starter pack, but very well worth it in my opinion. Now, what's some of the thoughts from you guys?
That is going to be the right color that you get in game, right? Because that looks pretty good.
I think that's the color it ended up being.
Because I mean, it makes sense
don't
for
quote me on that.
green for Xbox, so I get that. But it's a very nice shade of green with how it works. Like the pistol, not so much because it's the handle is the grip and all that as well. But the rifle, no, that's a good shade of green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these weapons are definitely well worth it. They're going to do you quite well. Any thoughts from you, Sir Timber?
I mean, they're pretty decent for what you're getting off of them, and it definitely gives you a different ground type than what you might be used to using, because I know everybody loves to use, I guess, only 2 or 3 different types of ground weapons. So, they're worth checking out, and they're very decent set, to say the least.
But I did realize one thing in my haste and thinking that was just 2 separate things. Then the PlayStation 4 version is going to be the Cobalt Cadet Pack. So, minor little screw up on my end there. I'm sure certain people aren't surprised. But, yeah, so it looks like that's the bit of blue that PS4 is going to get, which makes sense. You guys are going to be able to get this stuff for free until January 2019. So, yeah, get out there, grab those packs. You're going to get yourself some pretty nice stuff. But that's pretty much it for articles. Surprise, surprise, we're already to the budget build, and we're barely even 10 minutes in. Actually, no. We're just now coming up on the 9-minute mark about it.
New record.
Yeah, scary, ain't it?
What's next? One article?
Well, don't tempt them. They might do that.
Put it all in one big article.
Wouldn't surprise me. But, anyways, moving on to our budget build for this evening. They finally have this thing in the builder, and I was able to find it. We have our bare bones Europa for this evening. Now, for our bare bones budgets, we assume a maximum EC spending limit of 2 million energy credits. Everything else has to be free or as cheap as possible. But this is one of our discovery ships, one of the first of hopefully several new vessels that are going to be coming for people that like ships from this era. I know it's one that I rather enjoy on some of my other tunes. I don't do too much with it on my main, but as far as our gear and everything, one of the big things that I do like is that we finally have access to our really good phasers again that we got from the Everything Old is New. There was a brief while when all you could get was the twin phaser bank, which, not that those aren't bad, they're just not as optimized as the 25th century variants, I don't think. For our forward weapons, we have 2 of our Crit D ×2 phasers. These are from the Everything Old is New mission. We have the Quantum Phase Beam Array and our Quantum Phase Torpedo. And then we have our Terran Task Force Phaser Beam. This comes from the Tier 6 Terran Task Force reputation. And it's basically the same thing as your Terran Task Force Disruptor. It's still going to give you the radiation damage and all the things the Terran Disruptor is famous for, but now you get it in a phaser flavor as well. For the rear weapons, we have 2 more of our rare phaser beams, the Crit D ×2s, and then in the rear we also have our omnidirectional trilithium phaser. This is going to come from the Beyond the Nexus mission. For our shields, our engines, our deflector and warp core, we've went with 3 pieces of the Bajor defense set, and mainly for some of the pretty good set bonuses that they give. Now, the reason we didn't use a 4-piece here is because you have to get the warp core itself from the Bajoran Interceptor, which is an event ship. So, for this instance, we're assuming access was not available to that ship, but instead we've sourced our Temporal Phase Overcharged core, which, in our opinion, is a very hard core to beat on the free end. And what makes this core so great is it's going to give you a Temporal Negotiator style effect in the form of its warp core capacitor, basically meaning that it's going to cut your bridge officer cooldowns in half for as long as it's active. Then, for our devices, they're purely personal preference. Some devices you may like that we do recommend are the energy amplifier batteries, there's the Chevanite hardpoints, and even the subspace field modulator, which is going to give a free neutronium alloys with the resistances while active. However, you are going to eat a nasty minus 400 protonic damage resistance debuff. Now, odds are you're not going to run into any enemies or very many foes that are going to be running protonic damage. However, it is worthy of making a note at least. Now, for this particular version of the ship, for the C-Store variant, you've got a 5 engineering, 3 science, 2 tactical layout. Once you go to the fleet version, you will pick up a 3rd tactical console, I believe it was. So, let's go ahead and dive into our consoles. We have the Trillium Deplating, which is going to be basically a neutronium and field generator in one. It's going to give you some damage resistance, as well as some shield capacity. Then, for our reinforced armaments, it's going to give you some EPS, as well as a bit of other good stuff when paired with our Trilithium Phaser. We'll take a look at that set bonus in just a moment. Then, for our assimilated module, this is going to give some crit chance and severity, as well as a bit of control expertise, and comes from our Omega Rep. Then we have our sustained radiant field, which is going to give some nice healing and a minor damage bonus. Now, the good thing about this console, when it actually says bonus healing, it truly means that. So if it says 20% bonus, that's what you're going to get. So it's basically sort of a Category 2 heal, you could say. Then the blank spot here is actually supposed to be our SAF console that comes with the ship. For some reason, I wasn't unable to find it in the builder, but we'll pull it up for you guys right fast. So for the console itself, it gives a bit of the shield power and a bit of hull capacity. And these numbers are going to be off slightly since we're on the ground at the moment. For UN teammates in 10 kilometers for 20 seconds, you get a 50% hull regen bonus, and then it reduces the post-resistance damage teammates take by 50%, and then to self, you get to eat 50% of the damage taken that way. You get anywhere from a 100 to 200 bonus all damage resistance, based on the number of targets that the console is able to tag. You also get a 50% hull regen bonus, and it also locks out similar effects like this for 60 seconds, and the console itself is on a 2-minute recharge. So if you want a nice defensive console that can help you and your team, this is something you are going to want to consider. Then for our other consoles, we have our Temporal Disentanglement Suite for Science, which is going to give a nice bit of shield capacity. It's also going to give a nice bit of crit chance and severity based on our auxiliary power, as well as giving a bit of shield damage resistance. Then we have our Quantum Phase Converter, which is basically going to round out our Quantum Phase 3-piece and function as sort of a free phaser tactical console as well. Then we have our Ordnance Accelerator from our Gamma reputation. This is going to give a bit of phaser damage, as well as buffing our torpedoes a little bit. So it's a fairly decent console and a nice little placeholder. And then our tactical consoles are just phaser relays that we picked up from one of the missions. Now, really quickly for our set bonuses. For our Bajor Defense, the big thing you're going to get here is the 2 set, which is going to buff our phaser damage with a static 19% Cat 1. For our 3 set bonus, We're not really going to benefit much from the siphoning field, because that's from the warp core. We are, however, going to benefit from the retaliatory coronal ejection. This is the little ability that once the shields are drained on that facing, every so often it will throw out a coronal projection and deal a bit of plasma damage. This basically doubles the range. For our quantum phase set, big thing we're going to get is a plus 15 to accuracy rating, and it's also going to double the drain for the weapons, and it's also going to double the shield healing of the torpedo under high yield. And you're also going to get access to the quantum destabilizing beam, which is on a 2-minute recharge. It's going to deal so much phaser damage, and it's going to change based on your Drain X, your EPG, and also your innate phaser buffs. It's going to deal a good chunk of phaser damage. It's going to debuff the foe for a certain amount of power, and the numbers here read 2.2 power to all subsystems for 10 seconds, while also granting you the same amount of power it just drained. These numbers are going to be thrown off because we're on a ground map at the moment. These numbers are going to be a heck of a lot higher when you actually go to space. Moving really quickly to our trilithium, the biggest thing we're going to have here is the firing cycle haste and a bit of flight speed. Being able to pick up 5% firing cycle haste on the budget end is actually a pretty big deal, and that's something that's going to go a long way into improving your damage and giving you some more knockdown power. Alright. Now, for our skills, it's pretty much the standard build we've been using. For those that want a more technical explanation of why we picked the certain skills that we did, we do have a resource video available for that. However, I'm not really going to go over that here because we could spend another 30 minutes on just the skills alone at the very least. But I will mouse over it really quickly. It's a 14 engineering, 14 science, and 18 tactical setup. It's our lieutenant level skills, our lieutenant commander, commander rank, captain rank, and then our admiral rank. And with this build setup for your skills, you should be able to engage most any situation and adapt to what you need your ship to do. For specializations, we went with Intel Primary and Miracle Worker Secondary. This is going to give you some nice offensive ability from Intel, as well as some nice healing potential to keep you alive through Miracle Worker. For our traits, pretty much all of the traits here are free or come with the ship. We have our Accurate for some free accuracy rating. It's going to offset things like the firing mode penalty to FAW and similar abilities. Beam Barrage for free beam damage, and is our R&D crafting trait, so we like to include one with every build. Beam Training for free beam damage, so double stacking on some beam damage there a little bit. Elusive for free defensive value, that's going to make your ship harder to hit. Fleet Coordinator for free damage based on how many people are in your party, 2% minimum, and up to a 10% maximum. And to answer a question in chat really quickly as to how you get the traits, certain traits can be picked up from the lockboxes and the exchange. Some of them are picked up from missions, and some of them are given to you innately with your captain. It just depends on what kind of trait you're looking for. Then, finally, we have our career-specific trait of Grace Under Fire. This is because the builder defaults to engineers. If you're not an engineer, but you'd like to still use the build, swap in your own career-specific trait, and that's all the changes you really need. Then, we have the Nanite Repair Matrix, which is a nice little heal when we drop below 50%. It can happen once every 90 seconds. We have our Point Blank Shot, which is going to increase our energy weapon damage the closer we are to the target, up to a certain maximum benefit. And it is a Category 2 bonus, so it is very well worth it. Then we have our redirected armor plating from the Renegade's Regret mission. Whenever we're shot from the sides or behind, this is going to give a nice damage resistance bonus to help keep us alive. Now for our starship traits, this is one of the ones where we're able to have all 4 of our slots filled. For the best defense, this is going to give you a whole healing buff along with the normal effects. Then we have our predictive algorithms from Intel, which is going to give a bit of accuracy, as well as improving our damage a little bit. Then we have the Going the Extra Mile, which is going to give some temporary health whenever we heal someone above 90% capacity. Then finally we have our Reactive Reconstruction trait. I thought it was Reconstructive Nanites, but whenever you drop below 50%, it heals you and teammates for a pretty significant amount, and then significantly increases your outgoing healing. It'll go on cooldown for the next little while before it's usable again. So for those people that are wanting a few numbers, you can see the bonus that it gives there. It's a 50% bonus hull healing for 20 seconds to self and to allies within 4 kilometers. Obviously that number is going to be a bit low because again we're on a ground map, but that would be significantly higher in space. And then it's a 2-minute cooldown before that trait can pop again. For our space reputations, we're looking at the rank 2 versions of the powers because we're assuming now people have had enough time to complete their tier 6 reps, or they're in a position to where they're about to complete their tier 6 reps. So we have our rank 2 version of Aux Power Offense. Pretty much all of the rank 2 versions got roughly a 20% increase in their effectiveness. So in this case you're going to get a bit more extra damage and accuracy based on your Aux Power level. For your advanced target systems, you're now going to get 20% crit severity. For precision, you're going to get a 5% critical hit chance. Now, that may not seem like much, it's only a 1% increase, but it is a 20% bonus compared to what you had before. And then finally, your magnified firepower is going to be a free bit of category 2 damage just by having this on the ship. Finally, for active reps, you've got your anti-time entanglement singularity, which is a nice little AoE physical damage and slow that you can throw on foes. You've got your biomolecular shield generator, which will heal the shields a bit and reduce damage your shields take while you're inside the bubble. You've got quantum singularity manipulation, which is going to give a substantial boost to your science stats for the time it's active, as well as granting a temporary cloak effect. To get a little more bang for your buck, pop some exotic buffs first, follow with quantum singularity manipulation, then smack your foes with your anti-time, and you'll get a bit more potency out of your anti-time. Then finally we have our deploy sensor interference platform. This is a nice little oh crap I'm about to die power. You can throw this up and it'll produce a little sensor platform that will taunt foes to itself until either the duration runs out or the platform itself is destroyed, whichever of those two things happens first. Then, finally, let's go to our bridge officers for this. Now for this particular setup, on the ship you have a Commander Engineering, an Ensign Engineering, and then you have a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Universal, and then a Lieutenant Commander Science/Command. For our Commander Engineering, we have our Engineering Team 1, that's going to heal the ship a bit, as well as purge certain debuffs like a viral matrix effect. We have our Oxt Sif, which can be used to grant some temporary hit points and a little bit of damage reduction. We have our Emergency Power to Weapons 3, that's going to give a nice damage bonus as well as some free weapon power. Then we have our Reverse Shield Polarity 3, which is going to let us recharge our shields in a pinch off of incoming damage, help keep us alive a bit better. Then we have our Emergency Power to Engines, which is going to give us a bit of extra power to our engines and a little bit of extra speed when we need to get somewhere really quickly. For our tactical powers, we've got a Tactical Team 1 that's going to redirect our shields whenever we need it automatically, as well as purge boarding parties. We have our Attack Pattern Beta, which is going to debuff enemies that we shoot. We have our Fire at Will 3, which is going to smack anything within range with a beam. And then on our Lieutenant Tactical, or our Lieutenant Universal that we made into a tactical, I should say. We have a second copy of FAW, a rank 2 version, and then we have a Torpedo Spread 1 to sling some torpedoes around. Then finally, for our Lieutenant Commander Science/Command, we have our Science Team 1. This is going to purge certain effects like subnucleonic-based debuffs, as well as heal our shields a bit. We have our Hazard Emitters 2, which is going to be a heal over time and a slight damage reduction. And then we have our Concentrate Firepower 3 to cheese a little bit extra out of the torpedoes. And because this is a Lieutenant Commander rank seat, one option you do have, if you think you don't need the conch fire, is to perhaps swap that out with a gravity well. So you guys do have options here with this build, but overall you're looking at about 30,000 dilithium, and that's purely to get the reputation-based items, so that's about 4 days, assuming only one character is refining dilithium a day. But yeah, that's pretty much what we've got for a budget build this evening. What's some thoughts from you guys?
Let's see. Not much. I actually enjoy this build because, you know, the Europa is obviously the new ship on the block, but it's in a slightly different role than what we usually seen with ships about its size and class. So I do like the build kind of attaches that with the, you know, a lot of the, you know, even just starting out, I'm glad it works with that still niche of it has to go fast, it has to get in there, hit hard while it's in there, and at this point, it's still cheap and it still does very well. So I do like that bit for it.
Alrighty. But I think our resident Timber has stepped away for just a moment. But yeah, that's what we got for our budget build this evening. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. We'll have this in our notes for you guys in case you're kind of curious as to what we did here. And do remember, this is just a template. You don't have to build it exactly like this, but this is one way you could do it on the cheap side. And we actually did not touch our 2 million EC. So this is purely free gear and stuff you can get with a bit of dilithium and marks grinding. But anyways, as far as the bugs corner go, not too much on that front going on at the moment. Basically just it's been kind of quiet, actually. But anyways, coming to the final segment of the evening with the RP corner, we've got our resident Artie. What do you got for us this week?
Okay, so as you guys know, we're still doing the show. We're putting it on the day after the main show like this. But I actually wanted to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek for the basic galaxy map that we have for the fleet movements and whatnot. I will say you won't see much movement, as I've actually blocked out what you would see in the area that a lot of the battles are in at the moment, but you'd see basically the other fleets from out in the other sectors coming in slowly as what Blade and Timber requested back on the show. Now, there's a lot of movements. Some of them weren't what they said, some of them are close enough to what we can get by the request. And currently you may see, like, over where the remnants of the Romulan Star Empire to the north, you see, you know, a Federation group and a Romulan, what's left of the Romulan Imperial group, you know, their two fleets are meeting up. Now, Timber mentioned in the show that, you know, maybe we should start contacting allies, and mentioned what's left of the Imperialist faction up there. That's what that fleet's basically doing, and that's somewhat symbolizing what the fleet over by the Breen space are somewhat doing as well. But the other reason for the sneak peek is actually a suggestion from, you know, the player audience and whatnot. You see what the allied fleets are doing, you don't see what the enemy is doing currently. What is your idea of what the enemy might be doing? I mean, I may have not drawn it out just yet because we don't know the outcome of the battle that we kind of left Blade and Timber in during last episode. But I want to see what you guys think would be the next big target for the enemy. What would be a big blow to all members of the Alliance currently. So yeah, that's currently it. Besides that, tomorrow will be the show. We're going to try to hit it for as early as possible, but I'm not too sure on the exact time. I believe, what did we say, 5 p.m. EST? Yeah.
Something, I think, somewhere around there.
If not, we'll let you guys know. But that is more or less the general idea currently. Comments, questions?
I believe that about covers
Pretty
it.
much.
Well, there you go.
But yeah. Anyways, that concludes our RP corner for the evening. And surprise, we're done in about 30 minutes. That's rather shocking.
Scary.
For us. Yeah. But, like I say, not really a lot going on this week. But for those of you that are out there, thanks for joining us this week. Like I say, kind of quiet. Most everybody's still kind of preoccupied with the Black Friday sales going on. Some people probably still traveling on this Thanksgiving weekend. But, anyways, that's what we've got for a show this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. On the way out, a good shout out to our friends over at the Temporal Armada. Be sure to check those guys out. They're a very cool bunch of folks. Also a shout out to our other good friends over at the Kurtang Pirate Radio, where the party is there. They always have a good variety of music. Gotta give them credit on that, which is why we stream their stuff on our music bot here in the TeamSpeak. But anyways, if you guys have any requests for the Budget Builds Corner, feel free to let us know. Just say, you know, hey, this is the ship that I'm looking for. This is the budget level I've got. I want to be a space wizard, or I want to be a pure damage dealer, or I want to be a tank. You know, let us know, and we'll hook you up with a build. If you feel that your gear and your setup are in order, but it's your piloting that needs a bit of work, you know, get us a brief video clip of your piloting to us. I believe Boss Man has been working on a good way, easy way for you guys to submit that on our website. But in the meantime, get it to us in some way, and we'll be able to feature that for you guys and offer some tips and tricks on how to improve your piloting. If you got anything on the bugs front, feel free to let us know. We will pass that along to the devs, make sure they get it, and get those pesky bugs patched. Whether it be PC, whether it be console. They don't like bugs and issues any more than you or I do. But finally, if you have any requests for the RP Corner, feel free to let Artie know. He does take requests, and he may just talk about your topic on air. And also, if you want to join us for the RP event that we've been doing, you know, feel free to join us. You know, if you just want to maybe join for one little segment or one little mission, sort of like a mercenary or somebody doing a scouting type mission, as we've had a few people do, you know, feel free to join us. But if you're somebody that just wants to sit back and observe the action, that's fine too. But also join us tomorrow for the RP event. We'll let you guys know if we end up changing the time for that. But for now, folks, this is the Pilot Review Show, reminding you to have your triples spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Ah.